guys, welcome to another brand new episode of the 10 Minutes with Boston Chris podcast. I am your host, Boston Chris, and this week I am super excited to bring to you a conversation and a couple of snippets of songs from a couple of friends of mine all the way from Atlanta, Georgia, that we got to sit down and chat with recently at a brand new venue in Marshall, Texas called the In the Pines Listening Room. That is put together by a phenomenal couple in Dale Watson and Celine Lee. I'm really excited about hopefully cultivating more of a relationship with them and their amazing establishment there. And we were really excited to talk with the Waymores. And the Waymores are an Atlanta-based band, as I mentioned. Married honky-tonk Americana duo Kira Annalise and Willie Heath Neal. Media fans include Vintage Guitar, who said, quote, while 21st century Nashville pays lip service to this timeless sound, the Waymores keep it alive. And the Austin Chronicle asserted that the Waymores combined the bright and brash like June Carter and Johnny Cash. They recently released their full-length incredible album, Greener Pastures. The collection was recorded with legendary producer Shel Talmy. And Talmy is a record producer, songwriter, and arranger, best known for his 1960s work with The Who, The Kinks, David Bowie, and many others. In an interview with musician, producer, and songwriter Artie Wayne, Talmy says, quote, I am a hands-on producer, meaning that I always work with the artist on choosing material, doing the arrangements, getting musicians if necessary, choosing the studio, and being there for the entire production on through the mixes and mastering, unquote. He took the same approach with the Waymores. Once in Los Angeles, the session was engineered by Grammy Award-winning guitar player, composer, engineer, and songwriter Johnny Lee Shell, whose tremendous resume includes work with Bonnie Raitt, Lucinda Williams, B.B. King, and Delbert McClinton, amongst many others. Just a disclaimer, though, there is adult language in this episode, so keep that in mind as you go forward. Guys, we're excited to bring you a couple of songs, snippets of songs, the first of which will be right after this. And right after that snippet of a song, I'm proud to bring you this amazing, candid, funny interview with the one and only Kira Annalise and Willie Heath Neal, the Waymores. Y'all check it out. Y'all, we have the immense pleasure of sitting here with the Waymores after a show here in Marshall, Texas at the brand new In the Pines Listening Room. What a great venue this is. It's like
it's so fun.
Takes me back to a bygone era.
So fun. Yeah, it's really so a great
cool
spot.
It's
full
really
of
a great
memorabilia.
spot.
It's very cool.
It's full of memorabilia, period.
Oh, yeah.
It's not
just Dale. It is a time
impressive.
machine.
Yeah, it's like a museum in here,
yeah,
man.
for sure.
So you guys are the first artists to play in here other than Dale himself, right?
We are.
Yeah, that's quite an honor.
Yeah, it was
absolutely.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Absolutely.
And then they let chickens loose in the cage.
Yeah.
And shit
So
all over
yeah,
the
I
place.
feel like it was. If we're gonna let the Waymores loose, we might as well just let the chickens run free and shit all over the place.
That's right.
You know,
That's right. Give
same
away
thing.
some money.
Samesies,
Like that.
yeah.
So we're gonna try to stay serious. It's not gonna happen, but we're
Yeah,
gonna
'cause you
try
got the
really
Waymores.
hard.
Immediately, it's not gonna happen.
So, what are y'all's first musical memories? Like, what is the first thing you remember music-based?
I feel like yours is a really good story about this. Yours is super sweet.
Man, my first musical memory that changed my life forever, when I was in the Navy, there was a little band I was in, a little terrible punk rock band in the Navy, and whenever we pulled into port, the USO would find us shows in these ports. So the first show I ever played out live in any kind of capacity with a band was in Singapore. On the top of a mall, everything in Singapore is up. Real estate's all high. It's like Hong Kong, 20-story mall. At the top of it was this bar called The Wall.
Okay.
And our terrible ass band played a show there. The USO set it up, and and it was all the locals. And so, man, they went nuts. It was so like my first live show was like slam. We were an American band playing American music. We were horrible, but they didn't care. In Singapore. And I think my feet came off the ground. And when that show ended, I walked out of that bar. So you're at the top of this. So sorry, man. This 20-story building. Right there's this little bar on it right here. We walked out, man. I was on such a high from the music and it's the crowd's response. And I walked out, and I remember looking, out over all of Singapore, just top of this mall. And I went, that's what I'm doing with my life, music. It's like that moment changed. We were awful, but we were an American band playing American music. They lost their minds. And I walked out and looked over Singapore from the top of this mall, and I went, that's what everything else in my life, all my other plans went away, dropped everything. I was like, this is what I'm doing with my life. I have to chase that feeling over it. So
not just the music, but traveling the world.
The travel
is the biggest.
My first live show was in Singapore.
That's
so
crazy.
Not to diminish that at all, but your absolute first musical memory was not that. It was.
Yeah, he doesn't remember before Singapore.
It was your mother singing.
Oh,
and
my
your
mother singing. But
when she
I thought you were
sang,
talking about when I played. My mother.
it's-
So when I was growing up, my mother was a struggling country singer. She never gained any traction or anything, but my mother sounded just like Patsy Cline, would you say?
And in fact, when you heard Patsy Cline,
when I heard
you
Patsy
thought,
Cline, when I was a younger person,
Shakira's our new host.
Hey guys,
when I heard my mother
welcome
sing,
to this.
When I heard Patsy Cline on the radio, I thought it was my mother. So when that, because my mother could sing and sound just like that. So when I was a small child, 5, 6 years old, I thought, why, that was my mother singing. But wrong, when I grow up and find out,
Wrong.
oh no, that's Patsy Cline, and your mother was infatuated with Patsy
So I'll
Cline.
go through both of mine, which was the absolute first, like with you, with your mother, was my dad. He's technically my stepdad, but he's my dad. He raised us from the time we were 6 years old. So he's my dad. Whenever my mom wanted like a weekend away from the kids, he would tell us we had to have clean house. That's what he called it, clean house for the weekend. And he would blast Miles Davis.
Wow.
For hours on end. And I grew up hating Miles Davis because of that. And then when he passed, I learned very quickly to love Miles Davis. Just
Crazy how
because
things
of those
change, huh?
memories. Yeah. And
Nothing makes you want to clean the house.
absolutely. I was just like, oh my God, I would. And at the moment, you're right. I was like, I'll do anything to get out of here. I just want to mop and sweep, and I hate Miles Davis. But in the end, it was like, oh my God, I love Miles Davis and everything that he brought to my life. My first musical memory, like that I was in adulthood and could remember, I saw Willie on stage playing Junior Brown, Hung It Up.
God.
This
And
Willie, not Willie Nelson.
yeah, this Willie. I saw him on stage at a dive bar in Marietta playing Hung It Up, and it just changed my life, and I'll never forgive him for it.
Junior Brown.
Yeah.
That actually is the perfect segue. Thank you for that, Karen.
Of course.
My next question is, how did you two lovebirds meet?
In that moment.
In a bar. So when I got home to the Atlanta area, Marietta, I wound up in, and she wound up in part of this big ensemble thing there. It was called the No Count Palookas, and it was a big opera-style band, like had had fiddle, had mandolin, had a drummer, had keyboards. Her brother played keyboards in it. But so I wound up getting in this, and sometimes I would play upright bass because I'm an upright bass player.
We'd all kind of swap out.
So I'll swap out. It was an opera style thing, but it did. We had a residency at this one bar there in Marietta, which is where we met at. But this outfit did some corporate stuff, but it was just that's where we met. We met as bandmates in this ensemble called the No Count Palookas.
And it was not a pleasant meeting.
No, we didn't like each other at all.
Willie hated me. I hated him. He hated me.
No, but everybody told me what a great. So there was another girl that had the female part.
They already had a female singer. They had the girl singer.
She was terrible, man. She was.
They didn't have the female.
They didn't have the female singer.
Well,
they had
the time I'm in this, I had a record coming out in 2009. My star was kind of on the rise, and so I had all the the sway, and I was like, this girl's a joke. She can't sing. I won't.
Not me. The other girl. Oh my God, y'all don't think you said that about me.
That sang, and so when they asked me to be an actual part of this ensemble, I went, that girl, your female vocalist, is a train wreck. She can't sing. She's a drunk. It's an embarrassment to be on stage with her. I won't do anything with her on stage. So they got rid of that girl, and Kira was the girl, and everybody was like, you're gonna love her, man. She sings so great. She sounds so incredible. And so when Kira first came in and she sang, it was, granted, by far it was way better, but when I was Kira, came up to me, and
he goes, I stepped off stage. I just sang a song. I don't remember what it was. It wasn't Junior Brown's Hung It Up. I'll tell you that right now. But I came off stage, and I immediately Willie was kind of there. So our mutual friend now, our buddy David, who's so important in our lives.
Sasquatch Slim.
Yep. I came up, shook my hand, hugged me, and he was like, "That was incredible." And I was like, "Yes, that's that's what I was expecting," because I had an ego. And then David disappears, and Willie is standing in his place, and Willie goes,
"Nah."
He goes, I can hear what you're doing in any bar in Marietta in Atlanta, and in United."
I said, you sound like every other white woman singing the blues in Atlanta right now.
And I was like, ugh, this dick. But immediately I fell in love with him because I was like, I can fix him.
Yeah. Well, I said, if you want to stand out, you should sing some Loretta Lynn or some Patsy Cline. And man, she did just like that.
I went a step further and I looked up. So this is how bad of a crush that I had on Willie. I went a step further and I looked up Willie Heath Neal songs and I sang those instead of Loretta Lynn.
Pretty smart.
I just went and sang his songs as the female perspective, or I went and learned the female part to some of his duet songs that he had. And I was like, guess what? Let's
hey, when you got a crush, that's the right step.
I learned how to play guitar. I didn't even know how to play guitar.
Yeah,
I learned like G, C, and D, and I was like, watch this.
But man, it happened fast. She was a sponge. She learned 3 chords. Her brother showed her 3 chords, I think.
No, I watched your hands on stage.
That's 2 chords more than Elvis knew.
Yeah, no, that's not true.
Elvis was a great player.
No.
Elvis was a great. Elvis was far better player.
I won't tolerate that joke, sir.
I will not tolerate. Okay, next question.
Elvis is Jesus in this household. You gotta understand. You gotta let it run.
I'm a huge Elvis fan.
Yeah, us too, man.
TCB.
Yeah.
Just gonna put this over here.
We got it as well.
Step it. Oh, we do.
Yeah,
we have matching tattoos of Zane.
Zane's got it.
We've got
we
them
all got
both.
it together at the same
So
time.
mine's actually my son's initials, Toby Christopher Barnes, and my kids' names, Toby, Cassie, Brittany.
That.
So, yeah.
Why did we name our kids stupid shit?
I don't
not TCB.
Stupid shit. What a name.
Like May and Sebastian.
Stupid names.
They're the worst.
We could have named one of them Taken.
I hope you're watching right now.
Could have split it up to like Visa and Ness.
You failed us as children being named.
But she took to guitar and songwriting. What's so funny is this ensemble that we were in, they were all great songwriters. It was a big ensemble, and it was very popular in that side of town. At Tuesday nights, man.
We wrote a song one time called Tuesday Night Superstars.
So, man, Tuesday nights at this one bar in Marietta, man, were packed every time, and it was because of this house band, this No Count Palookas we were part of. But man, overnight is just like overnight. Kieran was an incredible songwriter and could play guitar. Didn't know how to play guitar. Then next day showed up, could play guitar, and it always got on my nerves. The other people in that outfit would belittle it. I wrote a song and they play it and they go, yeah, they're all great songwriters, but they would belittle her. And I was like, hey, man, this song is. It made me mad how good she could write a song. Mm-hmm. Like how fast she goes, so I was at a slump, I had a long career from then, written out, and I was in a dry spell. I couldn't write a song. No songs were coming out of me. I was aggravated for like 2 years of my life, just dried up, no song. She would show up, hey, I wrote a song, you want to hear it? I go, yeah, absolutely. Play this incredible song. Next day, show up, hey, I wrote another song, you want to hear it? Yeah, absolutely, incredible song. Next day, show up, incredible song, you want to hear it? And finally, she goes, hey, I wrote a song, you want to hear it? It's like, no. Go the fuck away. I don't want to hear another brilliant song you wrote. This isn't fair. But I remember, man, that was me early on when when I started out as a songwriter. Man, songs just poured out of me, and I realized then it's like, man, all of your life experiences and all the things that you've done, man, those are.
I was also miserable, so now that I'm happy, it's like very hard. to write.
It's hard to write when.
It's hard to write when you're happy.
Because I'm an artist, and she's the same way. I write in reflection.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like
As
I
miserable
can't
as
write in the moment.
life.
I can't,
And I was also like 22, so it was wildly dramatic.
She was a baby.
I was just a little baby.
Yeah, man,
So-
I don't.
She didn't start writing in like grade school like
Right?
a lot of these
Yeah.
kids do now.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
No, yeah.
But some of them, you're just like, what?
Yeah, and they
okay.
come out with just the most incredible stuff about kindergarten.
Yeah, listen. McDonald's not. McDonald's not
You're
a great
like,
song.
my snack food
way
was
overrated.
garbage.
And that Blues Clues theme, that's also
Cheese and
bullshit.
crackers can eat my
Mrs. Clark
ass.
put me in the corner today.
You know what's crazy, man, is Steve from Blues Clues.
Kieran, grab me that can right there.
Yes, sir.
Oh, no. Now put it down, lift up. No.
No, put the can out. Lift
Put it
the can.
down?
Lift the
Oh.
can. There's this
All the
guy.
way.
Wait.
He's gonna Matt Hillier you.
Trying to get me unmonetized.
Hey.
That's what he's doing.
Wait, I'm trying to stick
She
it in
can
my
hear
ear.
it coming.
Oh. What's that you say? Fucker.
So
Thank you,
isn't that
Zane.
a Loretta song?
Yeah.
So we've
What's
known
that
each other
you say?
almost 10 years now. I think
We
we met
have.
in
That's
2015.
crazy. Right on.
It's not so.
Yeah.
And you guys are from the Atlanta area, and I'm in East Texas, but you guys play here a whole lot.
Man, it's so
did.
funny. Our relationship started when we were doing $37 trio.
Yes.
Yes.
With South
Which
Side.
we still have. Which
Yeah,
we still
I have.
have tattooed. I acted like it would go
And just
away.
for shits and giggles, I'll put that on the screen right now for you
Yeah.
guys. We did interview them way back.
Yeah.
When they
Oh
were
my
the
God.
$37 trio.
So we
Please
would
don't
come
play
from. We would
Oh, I'm
come.
playing it.
Part of our Texas success comes from that. We would come from Atlanta every 4 weeks.
Yep.
We left Atlanta. We came to Texas, East Texas, and we did 2 weeks
Everywhere.
worth of shows. And then we went back to
Yeah, it
Atlanta.
was 15 days every 45 days.
Every
We
yeah,
toured,
and that was the math.
That's how we
did
started.
It. That's how it started, and we continued. Well, we were already doing the Waymores thing, but Dave.
No.
Yeah,
The
you were.
Waymores didn't start touring until 2018.
Right.
So we would do that, all the $37 trio stuff with David. We would create these cloverleaf patterns, and then we came home.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until somebody got a hold of the video that we did for John and Iris,
In Spite
this
of
song,
Ourselves. We did a
it's
cover
John
of that.
John Prine's song, "In Spite of Ourselves." Iris Dement sang on it, and somebody got a hold of our cover for it in Arizona, and they said, "We want you to come and
Book
do
the
a
show."
house concert." And we talked, and we said, "Book it." And then we
so
just
booked
booked
a
every
whole
day out
tour
until
out
it.
to there,
And we just never stopped.
on one house concert, and we've never stopped
For like a
doing it.
$500 house concert. It was so, it
But we
was
booked
just
shows
crazy.
all the way out, but it was the anchor thing. They're like, let's just go, let's just do it.
Well, I've always been absolutely in love with y'all's sound, both solo and together. So collectively, what do you think it is that makes the dynamic work on stage for both of you?
I think it's just our banter. Like the songs are very important, but the moments in between songs are just as important. Yeah.
if not more.
If not more. And so our just our talking to the crowd, and we always tell people it's almost like watching a married couple fight on stage.
Yeah.
We never fight. We would never do that.
Not on
We're the
stage,
perfect
right?
We are so perfect.
We're still on the TV right there.
But I know.
That's right, we
you
are.
See us.
Guys, again, you guys have to check out, if you're out there, check out the In the Pines listening room in Marshall, Texas. I really love this place.
Yeah, it's a cool
It's
room.
crazy
man.
special.
And
It's crazy cool.
it's going to blow up, I think.
But yeah, I
People need
feel
to
like
know
it's
about it.
just, our banter on stage, our dynamics on stage together. And obviously when you're together for this long, we've been together for 16 years as a couple. We've only been performing together, for...
Since 2008.
Since
Well,
2018.
before that, because that was the 37 thing.
Yeah, but I feel like it's that gets us, we don't sing a proper harmony, but what
Sing it,
people do
yeah.
here is us being, it's like the intimacy of just being together and
Yes.
knowing where somebody's going to go with their notes, where somebody's going to
We
go with
sing
the
an
song.
octave with each other,
Yeah.
which is, George and Tammy did that a lot.
People shit on
Yeah.
us all the time for not singing a harmony, but
I see that vibe with Johnny and June with y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
it's-
So it's not always a harmony, but it's
it works for what
it
we
still
do.
sounds good,
Yeah.
And it's man, we were both lead singers. Like I was, the lead vocalist for 25 years. You want me to to retrain my ear to sing. Singing harmonies is hard. You got to change your phrasing. You got to change, you know, it's like...
Guys, it's too hard to do.
It's hard. I gave up.
Yeah, I took vocal lessons trying to get
How much of it is that, though, like paying homage to prior couples? Is that in there? Like,
it's really...
totally in
there. It's in there when we write and when we perform, but it's not like a conscious effort.
Yeah,
it just kind of comes out that way. It comes out as... Like, we've had so many people do write-ups about us and say, oh, they're, George and Tammy, they're Johnny and June, they're all these...
That's not something we pine for.
That's, right. Yeah,
it's
not something we try for at all. But it is something that happens organically, and I think we're both super thankful for the fact that people look at us and see that. They hear us and see that.
Mm-hmm. And we love the fact that that's what they think of when they see us play, because that's not... Yeah. We were just playing songs and singing together. We weren't trying to be anything.
Yeah.
We just started doing this, and they, people started making these comparisons. That's nothing that we've ever said. We're never the ones that, hey, we're Johnny and June, and we're this. That's what reviews have said and other people have said. Yeah. And I mean, it's very flattering. And
it's not something you seek.
It's not something we saw.
It's not something we try for.
Because, man, we're insecure as shit. Every time, man, we see people... Our peers that play and sing, man, they're so good. They're so good, and their harmonies are so great. And every time when I watch our friends play, and I get on stage and we play, it's like, man, I feel phony.
Yes.
Because I,
You've got that imposter syndrome.
Yeah, I don't deserve to be here.
It's the worst.
But there is something that's charming about it that I've learned to accept. There's something, I get. So our producer Steve Stone on our second album, Stone Sessions, because man, so on the albums, we do sing a harmony. We can find the note, somebody can show us a note, we can sing it, but live, man, it gets weird. But so we were beating ourselves up in the studio one day, and Steve, man, was a great steel player and had a great ear, and he goes, man, it's okay. He's like, what you do is great. Quit thinking you have to fall into what society considers the proper channels for vocal. Because the standards say you got to sing a harmony. Goes, George and Tammy didn't always sing harmonies. They sang octaves a lot, which is octaves in rock and roll world is a common thing. A lot of people think, in the rock and roll world, you're hearing harmonies, and that's not, man, they do a lot of octaves, but it works.
A lot of times they can create that harmony feel with an instrument.
Well, man, we do a lot of that with
harmony guitars all the time. We can't do harmony vocals.
And there are times,
that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Well, there are times that we are hitting a harmony, but it's passing. It was unintentional,
right?
But so one of the things, our tricks that we go to is what Steve taught us was, for me, like when I'm singing with her, just go to the basement. I think of myself as a bass player.
That's great.
I just boom, boom. It's like I don't think of myself as a vocalist. I think of myself as a vocal bass player. I'm trying to go to the basement while she's up here.
I love that.
And you're safe with that because the frequencies and the tonality of it work, right? So even though I'm singing the same phrasing, a big part of the harmony that gets the most aggravating part of it is the changing of the melody, right? So with a harmony, you're singing the part, but you also have to change your melody. You have to, sing that note and not fluctuate, not go up and down. You got to, stay on that. That's aggravating for a guy that's been, a lead singer for 30 years, it does. So that's the hardest part. But if you just go, the safest thing to do, what he taught us was, man, just go to the basement. Just sing low when she's singing high, and you'll find safe ground there.
So I wasn't going to go to songwriting with y'all today because we did talk about that.
We can,
10 years
and we
ago.
will.
But by God, I got a question about it now.
Yeah.
You guys write songs together. How much are you guys writing songs for the other's strength?
Oh shit.
Man,
so when you're sitting down and writing, is that in there?
So here's the cool thing. Did I interrupt you?
Yes.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So, man, one of the things that I love about it, I could never, when I was in Nashville all those years, and people were like, hey, we should have our songwriting session. That shit never clicked with me. I don't know. Man, all my songs, all the songwriting I do comes from a personal place. I don't know how to set you down like a therapist and help you write about my... that's one thing if you're writing a jingle. I could never write with anybody. But Kira and I, it all changed with our song matches. The first song on the first record. So Kira, I came in one day and Kira had these verses, the verses that are matches. And she goes, but I can't find a chorus. And I was like, holy shit, the chorus to matches, I wrote like 15, 20 years before that. Funny. I had been toting this chorus around. I could never find verses to go with it. And she played these verses because I got these verses, but I can't find the chorus.
So she built the puzzle, and you had the.
I had to, and I was like, "Holy shit!" I was like, "Wait a minute."
That happens like way too often. Way too often.
It's
So
amazing.
that's another reason why I know that we write songs together that are already there. Like I'll be working on a chorus, she'll be working on a verse. You know, like holy shit, I've already been writing the chorus of that song.
But with what you're saying about like writing to the other's strength, I don't think either one of us ever consider that.
Mm-hmm.
We bring to the table what we have. And if the other person has something that fits, great. If they don't, then okay, you've got to finish it yourself. So there's
does that change anything as you're going along?
It really doesn't, because like I'll bring some stuff and Willie will just be like, I'm really not like, so okay, take our song Road Worn.
Yeah.
It was on our second album. Stone Sessions was the album. The song is Road Worn. It was a song about when COVID hit and everybody had to kind of shut their shit down. And it was the first time in 2 years that I had ever unpacked my suitcase.
Yeah.
Because we had been on the road for so long.
Yeah, I believe that.
So, and I was crying. Like, I was putting my clothes in a drawer and just crying my eyes out. And Willie was like, what the fuck is going on? So, I brought the song to him. And at first, he was just like, I'm just really not feeling it. I really don't, I don't relate to it. I don't really like it, all that much. And then the more that I played it for him, the more that we worked on it, the more he was just like, oh my God, this is like a really good song. So when I kind of pushed to have that on the second album was when he was like, okay, this is going to be a thing that we're going to do. This is good. So sometimes you don't lock in together, but sometimes you just accept that, okay, this person is so attached to this song, so then I'm going to attach to this song.
It's so funny you say that, because like my relationship with my wife, I'm into sports and wrestling, and she's into writing and fantasy and things like that. And I'm not into the things she's into, and she's not into the things I'm into.
Yeah.
But she listens because it's important to me.
You make
and I
sacrifices.
listen because it's important to her.
Sure.
That's where y'all are at.
Yeah.
So, man,
You make
another thing that happens
sacrifices, for
with
sure.
us with songwriting is, a chorus will come and like a verse, and you'll know it's a duet. So I'll play like, oh, here's the chorus, what I got thinking, and here's my part. And so it's like your job is, I got the melody already created. Your job is to write the rebuttal.
I love this.
To write the females.
So sometimes it's almost like a job where he'll come to me and say, I've written this. Now here's your part. You got to write you. And I'm like, oh shit, I gotta really step up, because he's written this beautiful moment, and now so that's like heart of stone.
But you know what's incredible about that? You came in here tonight talking about writer's block.
Yeah.
You can't have that now, because you're challenging each
it
other
does.
through
So,
those
man, you got to
times.
know that I said this earlier, man. For when she started, my well had dried up. I had written, man. I always prided myself on being a good songwriter. Man, I had, I was like, man, I'm a mediocre singer, a mediocre guitar player, but I can, I write good fucking songs. That well had dried up, and it was like, man. And I've never been that guy that tries to write, forces something out of it.
Yeah.
It had dried up till Kira and I started. Matches brought back something with me that was like, hey, we can do. So like even songs like Even When, right? She had most of that song, but she was like,
I was very specific when I started writing Even When. I was very specific about who it was about.
yeah, but she said, these are my parts. We want this to be a duet. What the great part of it is so it's from the subjects of the song are actually different than what we portray the song as. Yes. We portray the song as what came to life is like a man and woman, friends. But as Kira said, it was all her. But it was like you got to be conscious of the fact that, hey, here's a song that I sing and you sing. We're a duo. We gotta have parts. So that song was like, hey, I'm doing this. It wasn't a duet. I have one little interjection in that song, and I love it. She's all the verses, all the chorus, about, I don't miss you. It's it sounds like a love song, but it's about friendship. But there's that one, an anti-love
just
song.
about an old,
but that one part,
friend.
I have one verse in there that rebukes the whole thing. It's, she's singing about all of these bad things, but then there's that one small verse of me going, I got everything I need, worn out boots and homegrown weed. That's it. That's my whole line in the song, but
Which
it
is like
made the
such a
song
man
great.
line, right?
Yeah, it
like
is.
It's a
I got
great
everything I
enforce-
need.
Yeah,
like
I got
fuck
it.
you.
It's like, oh, you're over me and all of this.
Yeah.
You got to know
Guess
also,
what?
I got everything I need.
Yeah.
Worn out boots and homegrown weed. You know, it's a great mixture of, you know, you have this whole, you got the whole song for your side of the story. I have one verse, you know, I have a verse, you know, for my version of it, but man, it works. It's so well, you know, it's like, you don't have to sing for every verse, you know, that one of us sings. It's like, you don't have to have a whole verse to make the song powerful. It's like, I just needed that one fucking verse to make the song take another level.
And I love this too because like a major part of songwriting is vulnerability.
Yeah.
It's sharing your soul with the world. And so when Kira's being vulnerable or Willie's being vulnerable, how does the other one portray that vulnerability on stage? How do you share that passion even though it's not your vulnerability that's at play?
So I'm gonna tell you something that's gonna maybe kill some fans.
You need
When
to mute
I-
this part?
This isn't on the record. When I first started singing, before I met Willie, I sang with a band with my brother. I never played guitar. I was only the singer. That was my biggest thing when I met Willie, and everybody was like, "Oh, she's only a singer." I was like, "Oh, fight all of y'all." So I learned to play guitar just because of that. But in those moments, I learned that so many people thought that I was so tied to so many songs. They were like, "Man, I can tell that you really feel it."
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't give a shit about that song. But it's just because of your vocal intonation.
Yep.
So the same way that you would find your intonation on a bass guitar or a fucking mandolin or a violin or a fiddle or like whatever. The same way that you would
Your voice is your instrument.
dial into it.
Yep.
You can say that I felt that moment, and people are going to assume that I feel that moment because of the way that I
That's what a powerful
sing
singer
it.
does. But throughout
But
music history.
the way that Willie and I write to
Well, when
tie
you're
it,
touring, you can't feel all the time.
you can't.
Like, it's
you
impossible.
can't. But to turn it to your actual question, the way that Willie and I write is, when we write, it is actually in the moment. Like we know what we're writing about. I can bring a moment to him from 100 years ago and say, "Oh, remember this? We're going to write about this, and this is how I feel about this." And he'll go, "Okay, but I have this. Let's bring this in." We'll write about that, and I still, when I'm on stage singing it, I still know how I felt right then.
Amazing.
So when I sing it, you are going to feel that. You are going to feel, when we sing Even When, I still feel the absolute hatred I feel for that woman that I sang it about originally, that we ended up not even writing the song about. I started writing this song about this girl, and I still feel every ounce of me that hates her and that wants to punch her in the face every time that I sing it. And what I'm emoting out there to y'all vocally is that exact moment that I hate this bitch.
so
I want to punch her in the
So
face.
how do you feel the same way?
Well, so with that song, that's how things turn when you're writing. You know, a song starts out with a trajectory, like this is emotionally about this, but once the song is done, so you don't know any of that history,
Right.
you know, but how it sounds is because, like I was talking about earlier with my verse, you think it's talking about a bad time with a man, and it's actually a bad relationship. And it is
bad
a relationship, but
friendship.
it was her best friend, her
It's
girlfriend
my
at the
best
time.
friend.
But my verse, the one retaliation, that was also one of those songs where it was, I have this, you need to write a part for this.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes when it's so originally that song was so specific to
One person.
Kate. That song was so specific to Kate that Willie was like, "Girl, you got to calm it down. You got to back it up." And so when that comes into our dynamic, Willie will say, "Okay, let's calm it down and write a part for a male."
You need to make it a little more vague.
And that's like, yeah, make it more vague. Write a part
Because then
for
it becomes more relevant.
Because
It does.
then it
It
becomes
absolutely
us
more
fighting.
relevant
Then
to
it
other
becomes
people,
us
right.
talking to each other.
So-
then it becomes us saying like, "Oh, I don't miss you. I don't miss you. Even when."
Yeah,
and then it becomes
specificity
you
in
saying,
songwriting can be a bad thing.
Well,
And-
yeah,
well,
you need
absolutely.
people.
And then
That's
it-
vulnerability, right?
Yeah.
So you need vagueness in with that, so that you can relate. When you hear a song, you need
You want
vague.
everyone
You don't want
else-
specific characters in all songs
Yes.
because you want that song to be about you
Right.
subconsciously.
So
you
it's
need
not
to-
Kate. It's not just Kate.
It's not just Kate. It's
It's
all
not
of
just
y'all.
Kate. but you also want people to be able to interpret it the whatever way they want to.
Yeah,
So if
right,
it's you and I
exactly.
talking to each other in that song, which even when would wildly be interpreted as Willie and I talking to each other in that song.
Right.
Saying,
But that
I don't
ain't how
miss
it
you, I
started
don't
at
miss
all.
you even when.
Yeah.
And then him saying, well, I don't miss, I got everything I need, homegrown weed, whatever.
And then that's the most relatable. The human
Yeah.
struggle, is what makes the song relatable.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
even though the struggle between a friend, her best friend, and her,
Which was brutal.
how many people? If she made that song so specific and named names, who's going to relate to that song, right? A handful of people that But if you give a little bit of, it's like a Nostradamus. Like let's say, he would make these predictions that were so vague, but if something happened that fell into
Genius.
it, genius, right? It's like
Then he
all
could
of a
be a
sudden,
genius.
this song, his whatever he said,
But
was
I will
very
say-
In those
specific
days, though,
about.
that's how you got set on fire.
I
Yeah,
will say-
it's very specific to you, So that's the beauty of the song, right? Is if you take away, you start writing it with this very distinctive, not attack, but talking
Straight up
about,
attack.
this person. If you pull back, hey, wait a minute, let's take away this, and make it a little more vague. More people relate to it, and go,
Yeah.
I can identify
Yeah.
more with that.
So I recently had the amazing pleasure of having Joe Doyle on the show. He wrote some
Nice.
songs like In Pictures for Alabama
Yeah.
and She Said Yes by Red Akins and a slew of others. And he wrote a song called Someone Is Me. And the song is essentially about a bunch of things that people will just drive by and say, someone should do something about that. And so originally the song and his story of it was all these crazy things that nobody could do by themselves,
Yeah.
like world peace and, stop school shootings
Yeah.
and things
Yes,
like
of
that.
course.
So, his co-writer was like, we need to tone this down. We
Yeah.
need to make this so that people can
Dumb it
actually
up.
accomplish this,
Yeah.
Like someone should erase the graffiti off the side of the bridge and somebody should pick up the trash at the ball
Yeah.
field. And all of these verses and examples change to become easier to do. And now it becomes more relevant to
Yeah.
more people.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what we're talking about here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's pretty cool.
It is, man. But everything's
crazy.
the Bible's that way. It's
Yeah.
like you need to be able to interpret that, and it's that way. You need to take, leave some mystery.
Yeah.
In some of you.
So
Of course.
I fall between the two. So I've written songs, like Jenny, who has written about a gal named Jenny, that don't leave anything up to interpretation.
Yeah.
That's literally about Jenny. But there are
And
still
that's okay.
there are still people that can relate to that because it's just like you got in a fight with this gal. She was a bitch.
and absolutely, there's those
Jenny's
places.
a bitch. That you got in a fight with her, and then this was the aftermath. And then I wrote the song about Chelsea, where we announce her name on stage. It's not in the song.
And it's a straight up story song.
So I
And
really
those are
struggle
wild.
with that. I really struggle with
yeah.
and that was what even Wynn would have
That's
been
country music.
absolutely.
What it is.
Even Wynn would have been named Kate and
Well, so man, what
her
you're
last
dealing
name.
with there on that? Sorry, I didn't mean to.
I just meant Kate. Her last name. I wasn't going to actually say it out loud.
Her last
It
name
would
is,
have. It would have literally been named after her full last name, had Willie not stepped in and said, "Hey, this is a moment to kind of like step back." And
Those are
we
TikTok
could
moments.
really
Make it a
make
little more
those. You could make this moment like you could make this song a really good one that everybody relates to.
Yeah.
Instead of you just thinking Kate is a bitch,
she is.
everybody could relate
So,
to this.
here's the
And now
thing
I
with
want
that.
everyone to know Kate's a bitch.
So the thing with that is, man, if you got details to tell a story, like if you got a grievance with someone and you tell that story, that person needs to be called out. How their your disagreement, your verbiage with them, how it's a story song. But there are some times that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Where it's like you're better off, like we talking about with Even When. It's like make it more vague. But like Jenny, it's called Jenny because it's about your relationship with that one specific person.
Yep.
And
the other one we would have found a way for that to work too. But it's like every song can't be.
So yeah, and absolutely, every song can't be about somebody specific. But I've
But
had
people can
so
still
many.
relate to it, too,
I've had
though.
so many
They've
people come up to
experienced
me
those
and been
things.
like, "Oh, I know a Jenny."
Yes,
Or they're like,
exactly.
"I am Jenny."
Yep.
You bit, like. And I've told people, "Oh, we're gonna start a T-shirt line, and we're just gonna write the names down and
Different
cross
girl
them
from
out
Atlantic,
like it's men's names
Yeah.
that we dated, and just be like Jenny, Chelsea,
That's a smart merch idea.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna sell.
So I've known you guys a
eventually.
really, really long time, like we mentioned.
Absolutely,
And
yes.
I've heard both of you say over the years that you're the other's biggest fan. I've heard both of you say that in private.
Have you said that about me?
Never said that about
I would
You're a
never
liar.
say that
Fake
about
news.
you. I would never say that about you.
So I guess the question I have here is what is it about the other one that makes you their biggest fan?
Yeah, Willie.
You're the
Let's
other
go.
half. You're the other half of me. It's like I was talking about with the songwriting and stuff. It's she's my. Are you gonna make fun?
No, I would never. Answer
No,
seriously. I want you to.
But no, that she's absolutely. I've never been in a relationship or a situation or something where it's like she is literally my right arm, my other half. Like today we had something happen that I was like, oh my god, sympathy stuff. It's like she is literally the other half of me.
I didn't know you were going to be sweet about it. I did not have a sweet
she's also
answer
a bitch,
prepared
and I
for
don't
this.
know.
I thought you were going to be a real
no,
dick.
So it's she is literally half of me. If something were to, God forbid, something to happen to her tomorrow and she wasn't in our world, I would be walking around like with half of me missing. I wouldn't know what to do. It'd be like I had a stroke.
Yeah, I understand.
Half of me is missing. I've never had that with anyone before. This is like, you're literally half of my brain trust, half of my emotion, if she's feeling something, and we haven't seen each other all day, and I show up and like, oh, I'm feeling anxious or I'm feeling sad, I show up and that, oh, I'm sad or this, like, God damn it, I was having sympathy things, it's like I've never been one with someone before, so she's half of me. If
That's a
you
great
took
feeling,
her
isn't
away, I would just be half of a torso. One nut, one chest, half a
Notice
penis.
he went with the nut first.
Yeah.
Of course he
I've
went with the
never
nut
had that
first.
before in anything I've ever had, that someone's actually the other half of my being.
Good luck following that up, Carrie. You made him go first.
All right, watch.
Yeah.
So, when I met Willie, I was married, and I had no plans of not being married. And I saw him one night on stage, and it literally changed the trajectory of my life. I saw him, and I just said, shit, this is going to be bad. And I fought several women, physically and mentally, in order to gain Willie's trust and respect.
Grabbed all of my bitches.
Willie was very adamant. He was like, I do
Just
not
to
want
gain
to,
access
yeah,
to
right?
the wallet.
He said to the wallet that had $4 in it. No, he said I do not want a girlfriend, and I said, oh, that's so sad for you because you have one in me. But honestly, it is. Willie has taught me everything I've ever known about country music. The first time I ever experienced real country music was hearing him on stage playing Junior Brown, Hung It Up, in that dive bar in Marietta. Everything I've ever known about this industry, about my life that we hold now, our life that we hold now, is because of Willie. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know if I should blame him or thank him. Sometimes I think I'll never forgive you for it, and other times I think
I hate music.
I can't thank you enough. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hate music. It ruined my life.
Should have had a job, a house.
I love Willie.
Addiction's a bitch, isn't it?
He ruined my life, right? But at the same time, I've never had a partner that is so incredible and so just really on par with me, and he's just, I can't even begin to explain it. He is just such an incredible fucking guy. Okay,
No,
so when I know,
He's
I'll get mushy if you want me to, man. I'll kill it. He's when women go on TikTok and they're like, oh my god, I want what is it, the 6 foot finance? What was that?
I don't know. I don't.
What's that thing?
I don't picture Willie on TikTok.
Willie's none of those TikTok guys, but I'll tell you what he is. When I cook, that guy cleans. When I stress, that guy calms. When I cry, that guy comes to me and helps me in every moment. He is the husband that every girl deserves, that every girl wants, and somehow I got.
Amazing.
I don't know how that is, but I somehow
right,
got
let's
it.
Stop this mushy shit. Let's get
Yeah,
into
fuck it.
Let's wrap this
Also,
up.
he's an
We got
asshole.
people to talk to.
I think he's a real piece of shit.
Real quick,
Yeah.
I want
Okay.
to talk about Greener Pastures. This is a brand new full-length record from August of last year.
Yeah.
And legendary producer Shel Talmy.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Golly, what a score.
Tell me, yeah.
Yeah, he recorded the project. So tell me, what did Shel add to the mix that
Oh
you
my
guys didn't already
God.
bring?
Everything.
Everything.
So, Willie and I made a real quick deal, like immediately when Shel Talmy signed on to our project. And it wasn't Shel Talmy signing on to our project. It was us signing on to a Shel Talmy project, because that's how it worked. Some random ass way, when our second album, Stone Sessions, came out, Shel Talmy heard it, riding around with his buddy Harry in L.A.
Our buddy Harry was playing it the day
Yeah.
it was released.
And Shel goes,
Shel's blind.
Shel goes, who is this? Who
Okay.
is this? And Harry said, that's the Waymores. And he goes, do you think they'd ever be interested in recording an album with me? And Harry goes, well, they're not idiots.
Right?
So I
you
feel
gotta
like,
know
yes.
that Shel, all of his rock and roll, that guy's, rock and roll royalty. That guy changed the way rock and roll's recorded. He always loved country music, but he had never recorded a country record. He recorded Jerry Lee Lewis one time, but he still considers that a rock and roll record.
Rock and roll.
Yeah.
So when we got, it was like crazy. I said, somebody came to us and said, Harry actually came to us and said, Shel Talmy wants to record with y'all. He wants to do this. And I said, okay, cool. Send him my email address. Like, honestly, everybody when you're in this industry, everybody's got, my daddy's a producer and my mama's a producer and blah, blah, everybody comes to you with something that they can give. So Harry came, and Harry's a dear friend. So he said, Shel wants to record with y'all. And I said, okay, whatever. Give him my number. Next thing I know, we got a call on my cell phone
It said,
that
maybe
says,
Shel Talmy.
maybe Shel Talmy. You know how they do that.
Yeah.
You know how
Yeah.
AT&T runs that shit. And I said, hello? And he goes, hey, this is Shel Talmy.
Producer King.
And I was like, oh my God. I just puked immediately right in the floor. I didn't.
So, man, he
I
was
was just
like,
very excited.
He had, we went out originally, so they're filming this documentary about Shel. And the original thing was he wanted to record country music. So our original stake was the film production company paid for everything. We went out
for
to
their
record
first two.
Wow.
2 songs.
Our original plan was to record 2 songs and make
so
like
they
a
could
little
shoot
40. Yeah.
footage of him recording a country thing, and
We were
got
just
to
going to
get
have
the
a
tracks
novelty track.
and
Yeah.
release.
Wow.
So it was.
But
the film-
then
then,
you go
man, we
to
got in there.
the radio promoters in
Yeah.
this land, America. No, then you go to them and they said, we don't give a shit about 2
singles.
songs.
But
We want a whole album. We want everything. We want all of it.
Score.
So then, but at the same time that they were coming at us Shel was coming at us, and he goes,
They gotta
"We
do a
really got to do a whole album. We got to do 10 songs. We really." And I said, "Okay, you've got it out of us. We're gonna do 10 songs." Our record label signed on to it. We signed on to it. Everybody signed on. We went back in January, so
But
that was
I have
like
to
June,
interject.
July. Okay, interject.
So with these songs, he's like, record, give us a couple, he gave us a list of songs to choose from. We chose Don't Worry About Me, Marty Robbins was
Oh,
on
yeah.
the list,
It was
and
Don't
Under Your
Worry.
Spell Again, which are both on the album. But he said, don't worry about it, I have the band. You just show up, I have the band put together. He didn't tell us that goddamn is Dave Perlman, who played for Hoyt Axton,
Yep.
and fucking Merle Haggard, that it was Phil Piano, who played
Who
for John
was-
Prine. He didn't tell us.
Phil Piano was John Prine's piano player until
It was
the
also
day that he
engineered
died.
by Johnny Lee Shell, right?
Johnny
And-
Lee Shell,
oh my
look
God,
at you, man.
Johnny
who
Lee
played all the guitars
Shell.
on Star Car
Yeah.
Wheels on a Gravel Road.
Can I
for
tell
him.
you that Willie
that
entered
guy's
those
my
sessions
hero.
one
Yeah.
man and left another man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we left that session, he looked at me and he goes, I want to be Johnny
I
Lee
want to be
Shell.
Johnny Lee Shell. So
Like,
man, he
and
did-
Johnny Lee Shell gave him a Stetson that was specifically
Custom-made
like
for
Never watching it,
custom
right?
made
Never
for
watching
his
it.
head. Willie we were looking in the studio, and Willie found that Stetson. He goes, man, what kind of Stetson is this? I really want to have. I want to get one. And Johnny goes, you can't. That
Yeah.
was specially made for
Custom
me.
made for me.
I saw it in a magazine one time, and I went to my maker and I
Wow.
said, I want this. And Willie goes, holy shit. And he goes, man, that fits you a lot better than it does me. You just take it home.
It's hanging on the wall.
Golly, man.
It's
So
hanging
now
on the
you're
walls
one
in our
that-
house.
Yeah, now I
It's
got-
hanging
so
on the walls of our home.
So when Johnny Lee, man, so he played for, God damn it,
Taj Mahal.
No, Taj
He played
Mahal,
for
but-
Buddy Lee.
uh,
Or Buddy Guy.
Buddy Guy, but his Melissa Etheridge. It wasn't Melissa Etheridge.
No, it was Bonnie Raitt.
Bonnie Raitt.
Yeah.
Sorry, forgive me.
Because
That.
our
So
bass
he
player still plays for Bonnie Raitt.
still plays for Bonnie Raitt. So in the 80s, like it was the 80 Grammys or something, she, swept everything up. Then, he played for her. She fired everybody except for the bass player who played on a record too. And he was like, man, so he went into like Hollywood horse wrangling for a while. So he was
crazy.
like a Hollywood horse guy, for the. So in the studio, in Johnny Lee's show studio, which is where Shel Talmy records, they live right across the street from each other.
Okay.
So,
wow.
Shel Talmy records in Johnny Lee's studio. Man, there's all this cowboy stuff. And so there's a TV playing all the time, old black and white westerns. The whole time we're recording this album, it's just like Wanted Dead or Alive playing. It's all this fucking black and white.
entire
I'm gonna
time
keep it
we were
real. When I
recording.
saw this on your website, I was like, "What? They got Shell, they got John Lee Shell, and like these are rockers. These are like,
Man, they're incredible guys. And we came into the studio. We didn't know. He just said, "I have the band put together. It's a modern day wrecking crew. You don't worry about it. You just show up."
Wow.
So here's one of the things that was weird about recording with Shell is that we would do like recordings of these songs, And,
Oh my God.
And
It was the
he would
funniest
show
shit.
up with our arrangements, how we wanted the arrangements, right? And then we would show up, send them to Shell, and he would send notes back. We're going to cut this chorus. We're going to no solo. There were no long, drawn-out solo arrangements. And we kept thinking, man, I don't like how this is going. But we got there, man, everything he did was brilliant. And you realize, you go back and listen to those he wanted to make a record like Owen Bradley did, back in the day where it was, man, we ran through the songs like one time.
One tape.
And we rolled tape.
Yep.
But, man, and those old country records from the 60s, man, they're no long, drawn-out solos. They're turnarounds with fills, you know. So he cut out all of our solo. We were like, oh, here, we're going to have a solo. Nope, all that shit was axed. It was these weird turnarounds at the top. And, the verse, and then no solo area. It would be a turnaround for this or whatever. And when he would tell us these arrangements, we were like, this makes no sense, man. I don't dig this at all.
Especially
but
for
it was like, we're going to do what Shell
that
tells
was
us
crazy.
to do. And once we heard it, we realized, it's like, this is brilliant.
Yeah.
That's why Shell Talmy.
Yeah, crazy stuff. So I have one question each for y'all, and then we have a final segment.
Yes.
I'm sorry for keeping you so long.
No, don't worry about it.
So health has been something that's gotten in
Absolutely.
Kira's way when it comes to touring and
Yes,
music.
100%.
So how has your health impacted what you do?
Oh, how has it impacted it? Terribly. It's so we did not know how ill I was. I don't know when it actually
We're talking
started.
physically here, right? Not mentally.
That's a
Same,
joke, fucking
samesies,
real.
samesies. I don't know really when it started. I think
We noticed
it
it at the
started
South by Southwest. It was
last year.
two
so-
years ago.
2 years. So
That it was
2022.
like the fatigue, like I just can't move. I can't.
Oh, that was like the big time.
Yeah.
So
we had all this-
2022 South by
We
Southby.
had to
It
play a
was
show and then go put
Yeah.
her to bed. It was like she just.
it was
couldn't-
crazy. And then we left South by, and we
didn't
found
realize it was lupus then. It wasn't.
no,
till
we
after.
didn't. But we found solace in a friend's house in East Texas, and we canceled a bunch of shows. We stayed there, and Willie had to. Man, I couldn't brush my hair, brush my teeth. I couldn't bathe myself. Couldn't do it. Willie fed me. It was miserable. Like, that's great of Willie. He's a wonderful husband. Everybody, like, that's wonderful. But at the same time, I don't want that. Obviously, out of our marriage, I don't want that. It was just a really tough time, and then we discovered that it was drug-induced lupus. I've had a neurological condition since I was a child. The medication wasn't working any longer, so they gave me a new medication called topiramate, and it caused drug-induced lupus within 3 days of taking it. So within 3 days, I had like a big old rash across my face. That was like the typical butterfly rash that comes with lupus. Doctors left and right were like, oh, it's not lupus, it's not lupus, when I had every symptom of lupus. So if you're in the medical industry and nobody wants to diagnose lupus.
Yeah.
So finally, it's drug-induced lupus. We're going to do a brain surgery at the end of this year. I've got to have
Gonna
brain
give her a
surgery in
brain.
November. They're finally going to give me a brain.
Nice.
It's going to be
Y'all just keep
spectacular.
scoring.
Chef's
Yeah.
kiss.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss.
I knew there was something different about you.
They're gonna give me a brain in November, and hopefully it'll kill all of the symptoms that we've had. You know,
So that's coming up then. That hasn't happened yet.
yeah. So November, the first week of November is when it's scheduled. I have my first, like, you've got to go through all these weird things like neuropsych evals. So my first neuropsych evaluation is when we get home from this tour, and it's crazy. Like, you have to make sure that you're like mentally sound for all of these procedures. So
It's like when they make you lose weight to have weight loss surgery.
right, yeah. So yes, I've had crazy weird medical shit, but at the same time we are on the absolute up and up, and we have got a plan to recover from all
And
of
absolutely
it. So.
still killing it too.
Yes. Like,
So-
we took a few weeks off. I got my shit together, and then we just ran with it.
And one for Willie as well. Not quite as serious as that one for Kara, but
I'll take it.
we mentioned that you have played literally all over the world: Europe,
Yes.
Asia, South America, North America. If you could pinpoint your favorite country that you've played in, what would it be?
Man, that's a hard one.
Yeah.
Is Marietta, Georgia a country?
No,
because it's where
absolutely
you
not.
met me.
Man,
It's not always about you, Kara.
I'll just crawl under here then.
I gotta say, my
Oh, it came all the way off.
Broke them. Oh my
I didn't. I would never. All right, talk about your time.
I gotta say that maybe Brazil was
You
it's
dick.
crazy down there, man. I mean, like full on celebrity status. It's
I've seen those pictures.
Willie
man.
actually
man.
needs.
Gotta have security, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
man.
I'm
It's-
trying not to be weird about this right now, but I did break
So,
it.
man, Brazil. But a beautiful thing about that and the relationship with that is the band that we use, like in Europe and tour with, is all the guys that I met in Brazil.
But don't paint away from the moment that when Willie is in Brazil, he 100% needs security.
Yeah, I
And
know,
is
yeah.
like
I know.
Waylon fucking Jennings down there. Like, people. So Willie has played shows at the start time was 1 a.m. Which are we all on
Crazy.
cocaine?
There
Like, that's
time, man, I
insane.
played shows that we just start to 2 in the
So
morning.
he'll go out there,
Wow.
he'll start, and these women. I'm gonna focus here right now because these Brazilian beautiful women will come after him, and it's literally like you have to have the security. You have to have, not just because you're loyal,
Oh.
but because there are that many people trying to get to you,
It's-
getting
it's
photos,
crazy,
getting.
man.
It's not just the women. It's
But one of
people
the-
trying to
So
get
what
photos.
you're trying to say is you are the Brazilian
trying to
Taylor
get-
Swift.
No,
Yeah,
no,
he's
no,
the
no,
Brazilian
no,
Taylor
no, no, no.
Swift.
But man, what's so funny? So one of the things, the first time I got invited down there to play, there was a band called the Fabulous Bandits, and they were, there are other variations of that band that still function today, but man, they were very popular. They were doing the all country kind of thing. They invited me down there with them backing me up back to that whole scenario. And so I just went, on my own down there. And what they loved, what the Brazilian culture loved, is that I came and did it with a Brazilian band.
That's amazing.
I used Brazilian players, so I was like an honorary, Brazilian.
Yeah.
So man, the next thing you know, it sounded this weird. I got all these Brazilian celebrities, wanting to meet and stuff. But it was just life changing. I've been, all over the world, played music, but I think Brazil might have been the most life changing for me. It was that first.
Because I wasn't there.
What?
Because I wasn't there.
'Cause, it's more than just,
This asshole.
man, just how they, like Europe loves American music and stuff, but man, Brazil was just, it is nuts. But, life's crazy down there. I don't know when we'll ever get to go back down there. But the friendship I made with those guys down there. So now, it's like when we tour Europe, it's the Brazilian band that backs us up in Europe.
That's
That
amazing.
friendship, and those guys, it's so crazy, man. That those guys are like Hellway Patrol. They're like a metal.
They really
band.
are special. So anytime that we leave the country, we
Yeah,
take them.
I made an arrangement with my buddy Pagano
Yeah.
down there, who was kind of like my manager down there. It's like anytime I want first dibs. Anytime you're playing music out of the country, I want first dibs as far as like backing you up,
So
And-
when we went, we just finished our European tour, and they were our backing band.
Wow.
And they flew over from Brazil. Some of the guys now live in
Yeah,
Berlin.
a lot of those, two of those guys have already, just moved to Europe.
But yeah, so they'll fly over and do whatever they need to do to be a part of it.
And it's great, man, because those guys, man, they're they can play anything you need them to play. It's like you want country music, they can play it perfectly. You need calypso music, they can go to the studio, they can play that.
Amazing.
But they love country music and they back us up. And so, man, Brazil, I gotta say, is probably one of the.
I just gotta pee real bad. What
Yeah,
are you
yeah.
gonna
Let's
ask?
wrap this
No,
up.
I got
Last
okay.
question.
Last
Yeah, yeah.
question.
This segment is called "Who Do You Think You Are?"
Okay.
We have to say it like a wrestler.
Who do you think you are?
Yeah.
Who do you think you are?
Toughest question I will
Okay.
ask today: who do you think the Waymores are? Who are you?
Man, I think we're just a bunch of struggling motherfuckers with a real complex, thinking that we can do this. And I just hope for the best.
Man, I just, you know what? Every time we're off playing, I'm not digging a ditch or fucking building a house.
I'll take
we
it.
get to play, and I'm doing it with my love, my life, and it's music is my religion. If I'm playing music every day and struggling by, that's better than working the Waymores. It's a religion to me. It's a gospel to me. It's a way of life. It's like we're living for our passion. Not a lot of people get to do that.
I love it.
Yeah.
Guys, usually I ask them where you can follow along, but we all need to pee. So I'm
we
gonna
gotta
do
pee
that in
so
the
bad.
outro. Guys, Willie, Kara, thank you so much for your time. I love you
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank
Yeah.
It
you.
was good to
Thank
see
you
all
so
of you.
again.
much.
And that was another episode.
Gotta pee. I gotta pee. I gotta pee so bad.
I'm a fool, I'm a fool, I'm a fool, I'm a fool. Fool, I'm a fool, I'm a fool, I'm a fool, I'm a fool. Well, my foolish heart keeps going back to all the good we had when we were lying there in bed. Oh, how it seems so sweet, but then the thoughts they creep to all the hurtful things you said. Well, I'm reminded all the memories of you, all in the flashbacks of a fool. I'm a fool, I'm a fool. Fool, I'm a fool, I'm a fool for you.
Man, what an incredible conversation with my good old friends, the Waymores, Kira Annalise and Willie Heath Neal, all the way from Atlanta, Georgia. My relationship and friendship with them goes back a long time, and I'm proud to call them friends. And what a great love story and music story as well. So appreciative of them for spending some time after a recent show with us here on the show. I also got to give some thanks to Celine Lee and Dale Watson for letting me film the episode right there in their incredible venue in the Pines Listening Room in Marshall, Texas. Y'all look that up. Their Venmo is at Ameripolitan. If you want to show them some love. And the Waymores, of course, their Venmo is at the Waymores, and you can find them everywhere. Just search for the Waymores, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, wherever they have social media, they're known as the Waymores. You can also find them at thewaymores.com. And last but not least, I would be remiss without thanking the guys from Adios Fatso for letting us use their song, Video Call Plethora, part of that song, as our theme song going forward for a while here on the 10 Minutes with Boston Chris podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode. I will catch you down the road.